All right, let's talk about Bitcoin real quick on a couple different time frames. I know some people want to trade for the weekend. I know some people want to look for short scalps. I know some people are trading on different time frames. So we'll try to cover different outlooks here. As far as on a lower time frame goes, what I'm seeing here is we grabbed some support this morning around the 19,350 level, and we seem to have resistance up around 19,550. I'm personally expecting once we get back up here, if somebody wanted to grab a short term scalp of a short, you could start shorting right around 19,500, and I don't know, maybe extend that up into the 19,560, even maybe get a bigger wick than these past ones, maybe even 575. I'd have a tight stop loss shortly after that, right around 19,600 to invalidate that, right around 19,600. Personally, I would expect to get resistance here, pushed back down towards the 19,350, and basically that's where you're at. I mean, unless you're trading with high leverage and just looking for short scalps, you're basically caught in this little weakened range right here between 19.3 and 19.5. So if you want to start zooming out, looking at things on a bigger picture, see what we're really talking about here on a higher time frame. I'd like to bring up some facts here and show you what we're looking at. As you see, overall, if you come back to the September timeframe when we bounced from here and went up, I think most people should realize we had a relief rally in the stock market. If you would not have had that relief rally, I'm not so sure you would have had as much as this. Also, if you remember, then the stock market sold off. That's your red candles here, basically bringing us back down into this trend that we were already in. I wouldn't expect anything too far outside of this until we get some real news and some real changes. Your bigger area of bottom and support is actually more down around 18,000, 18.1, 18.2, something in that range. Now, zooming out even further, which is what I think people often don't do. They get caught up in the hype in the moment and they don't really want to see things on a higher time frame. What you realize is obviously we still made a bottom back here in June. Bottom was 17.5 range, and after that we went up. If you think about this from a more cautious point of view, what I've been arguing the whole time is I really wanted to see a retest of the 17.5, or I mean, you could argue that these wicks down in here to this 18,000 range are our retest of the 17.5, and maybe just that one wick was the outlier. If that's the way you want to look at it, and you then want to say the bottom is in and we have support at the 18,000 range or 18.2, if you will, somewhere in there, and that's what you're going off of. Going into this next week, we grab some volatility in the markets. What people should be prepared for, because Bitcoin and crypto are not decoupled from stocks, is if stocks crash this week, you'll be hoping to grab support at the 18,000 level. If you're in a high leverage trade and this happens come Monday morning, or if we get maybe a brief pump, this would even probably be the more max pain route. We open after all the sell off this week and we actually get a pump Monday into Tuesday and everybody starts selling off Tuesday evening. You'll actually get this to possibly run up to this 20,500, possibly even 21,000, 21.5 range, and then coincide that with a stock market sell off. And you might get enough momentum that we don't even hold here down at this 18,000 support. That's something that people need to hear. People need to be open to that. And you need to trade cautiously and wisely, not just follow accounts that are pumping nothing but bull narratives, especially for people that are newer to this. And you will get wrecked. You will lose everything. If you want to try zooming out a bit further, which, as I say, is always a good idea for everybody, it's nice to bring up, let's go up here, zoom this in, come down. Let's have a little bit of a history lesson here on this. Remember when 30,000 seemed like it wouldn't go? Remember when you thought you had support in these ranges? Remember how fast that disappeared when bad news came in? These are daily candles. We were consistently, for a while, holding support in the 29 range. And if anybody got a dip or a wick, I mean, there was really no candle bodies. If you got a dip and a wick down to the low 28s, I mean, that was just the mass buying opportunity. And then you're, guaranteed to go again. If you look over here, when we came into the drama in June and we got the sell off, these are daily candles. You sold off from 30,000, hoping to come back down and grab that support at 29, blasted right through it. And then over the next couple days, you had nothing but red candles. You went from 29,000 candle all the way down 28. Then you got this massive, nasty red candle here that in one day dropped us from what everyone was hoping. If you go back here and once again, when in doubt, look left and zoom out. You had momentary support, we thought. We thought this was the new bottom. This was it. 28 stopped holding. Now we've got, this 26.7 range. Then you came over here, and we bounced on that. That actually looked for a moment like that was the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will. We grabbed the 26. However, we didn't get any real bounce from there. We got a continuation of a sell-off. We sold off from the 26, 27,000 range down to 22,000 in the matter of one day candle. Now, imagine how many people that wrecked, and imagine how hard that was to adapt to for people. Unless you're running stop losses, that was probably you getting margin called. That was you getting obliterated and wrecked. Now, if we move forward, we come back down to this new trend that we're in, where we think we've found support and a real bottom at 17.5. And you look to the right and you see how this is played off. Played out, sorry, not played off. You see that we're now back up in this range trying to find support, 19,000, and everyone's calling for, back to 23, back to 25. To give somebody a different outlook on this, something I would like to bring into play here, put on people's radar, is we're continuously being walked down. If you look past the noise, you look past even these rips that we've gotten more based on stock. I mean, you can also argue the sell-offs are that too. We have not decoupled. So if you follow what's going on with the Nasdaq and the S&P, or you don't, you should. If you're only trading crypto and you don't want to hear about all that, it's a disadvantage to you. The crypto markets and Bitcoin are following the stock markets. We are definitely correlated at this point until a true decoupling happens. So based on that, let's take a look at something. We have not broken past 25,000 cents. I mean, you can say we had some wicks and we went to 25,250 range. We have not broken that range since we found our bottom that everybody wants to believe in. I mean, not that I don't either. I'm a bull. I definitely prefer a bull case scenario. I have a hard time shorting things, and I have almost a mental inability to properly see a bear case scenario at times. So if you look at this, you see that since 17.5, we have never broken past the 25,250 range. You look to the right at what's happened since then, and we've had more sell-offs down to these ranges of consolidation where we find support in the 18.5, 18.8, 18.9 range, stuff like that. And then even with these rips in the stock market, I mean, the stock market ripped really good. We had back-to-back days where stocks were just ripping. People were making plenty of gains on stocks. Yet Bitcoin came up here, and even with wicks, didn't even hit 23,000. So if you look at this 25,250, and then you look at this wick where we're roughly about 250 short of the 23. I mean, maybe a little less than that, but just go with some brief averaging there. A little couple hundred less of the 23. You could argue we've been walked down over the course from August 22 to September 22. That's kind of funny, right? You got exactly a month there. You went from August 22 to September 22. We've been walked down from a 25 peak to a 23 peak. Now, a lot of us are expecting possibly some kind of rip Monday, Tuesday, hopefully, or sometime in this next week or two, a relief rally from the stocks. This is not advice or news that I'm happy to give. This is definitely not the fun bull case scenario I'd be hoping for, but you want to look at reality. You want to look at zooming out and being cautious and making wise decisions with your money and preserving your capital right now. And what I would say personally is I think there's a good chance if we get this relief rally and we come back up with stocks having, say, a rip Monday, Tuesday, that we find ourselves with a new peak right around 21,500 at best. Maybe even come up to the top of these wicks possibly and get like 21.8. I personally feel a lot of people should be aggressively taking profits if they make these moves from the lower here or they've been building positions going forward and get your profits. If you're looking at a much more long-term investing basis, then yes, I agree. All of these prices are oversold on Bitcoin, oversold on the stock market. Great times to DCA, great times to begin accumulating. And if we go much lower, continue doing the same, stick with your plan, and in the future, you'll look like a rock star. However, if you're trading on high leverage, you're trading capital you need right now, you're trading for short term, be it a few days or even a few weeks, I think this larger trend needs to be paid attention to and respected. I think that we're definitely looking at coming down and at least touching this 18,250 range again. And you could be looking to grab, more DCA there rather than FOMOing in at this point, thinking that, we're going back to some crazy number because somebody else told you so. If you want to hear the worst case scenario, we get this 21,500, 21,000, even 20,500 right here. Come back up here and grab this even. That will give a lot of fuel to the bears and to the shorts. If you combine that with the idea of getting a relief rally in the stock market on Monday and Tuesday, if this happens, and we run back up to these ranges between 20,500 and, let's even just say you go all the way back up here and match this one again, and I'm wrong about this 22, 23 range coming down to 21. Let's just say you go back up and match this. It's going to be a lot of fuel and fire for the bears. It's going to be a lot more liquidity to push down, and it's going to be a lot of exhausted buying by the bulls. The rocket fuel will be exhausted, and the bears will be in a position to easily take control. What you'd then be looking at if the stock market crashes down further and we're going to see a sell-off deeper into the stock market and go back down and hit something in the 32 to 3,400 range, there's a very good chance we will briefly, if not worst case scenario, even longer now, but at least briefly lose this 18,000 range. If we lose this 18,000 range, what people need to realize then is we're sitting on a peak from 2017 as support, as well as this small area of support that was built in November of 2020 before we went higher with the money printer printing. We do not have currently a money printer printing and going burr right now. If we lose this, your next level of support psychologically, I'd say is maybe 15,000. Structurally on these charts, doesn't even start until the 13,500 range. And real quick, you start seeing where people like, Gareth Soloway or El Crypto Capo or any of these other guys who have been making these bear calls and been right when no one wanted to believe we could go below 30,000. What you'll find is there's no real support until somewhere between 10 and 12,000. That's where Bitcoin goes to find real support. Will it stay there long? Probably not. I think you'll have a very aggressive buying period there. I think you've also got so many people with just automatic buys set, hoping to, have those entries in their life that it'll come and go really quick. But for the people trading on leverage, you will be stop lossed out. You will be margin called. You will get liquidated. You will get wrecked. So just people, please trade safely, trade wisely, pay